Welcome to the Artist Advisory Hotline, the podcast for artists who want valuable guidance and honest answers on how to grow their careers and develop their new project from leading art world experts and artists. Here's your host and founder of the Artist Advisory, Marina Press Granger. Tune in as she gets you the answers you deserve.
Hello, artists. I'm Marina Granger, and thank you so much for tuning in to the hotline today. Today, I want to talk to you about the real reason that you're not growing as much as you want to on social media, right? Now, we can talk about all of the practical, like you've got to use this hashtag or hashtags are out, or you've got to use trending audio and you got to know what to post and all of these things, right? So that is all really, really important. But there's a bigger reason why you're not growing as much as you want to on Instagram, specifically as an artist as well, right? Because as artists, there are two things that might really affect you before you go to post, right? And they actually stop you from posting or even just posting what you want. Okay. One of them is fear of criticism or judgment, right? And the other one is perfectionism. I can tell you that as I'm scrolling through socials, these are two things that I do not see addressed when it comes to growing on social media. You might know all of the things that you have to do in order to grow on social. You might be like, okay, I know that I've got to post 3 times a week. I've got to post reels. I know how to do the videos for them, but I just don't do it. And those are the two biggest reasons that you're not doing the thing, right? You are in your own way because of perfectionism and fear of criticism or judgment. So let's take those two things, thank them very, very, very much for protecting you when you needed them to protect you, right? Like perfectionism protected you at one point in your life, and fear of criticism or judgment is another thing that may have protected you at one point in your life. Perhaps with perfectionism, it made you kind of like the favorite in a situation, whether it was like with a boss or with a professor or a teacher. And perhaps fear of criticism or judgment made you feel comfortable and protected you when you did not speak up. So there was no adversity coming to you, right? So let's thank those two feelings. Be like, thank you so much, but I no longer need you. These are no longer serving you. So, how does this come up, right? So, one of the best ways to get over this is to identify where it's coming from. Like, where was the first time you felt like you had these thoughts of perfectionism, fear of criticism or judgment, and understand that they're coming from a place that is not truly coming from you. They're coming from someone else, right? They're coming from something else. And that someone or something else does not have power over you and what you decide to do. And the next thing that we're going to do is figure out how it shows up and gets in the way of you posting on social, right? I'm going to talk about that right now. And then after that, what we're going to do is we're going to think about reframing those two beliefs, right? Or these two blocks, we're going to reframe them and insert new beliefs, right? So, okay. So when it comes to perfectionism, it shows up when you're about to post. And let's say you're like, oh, this video isn't good enough. I don't sound good. I don't look good enough. I maybe like you're putting yourself in your content and you're like, I don't look good enough. I am not wearing the right outfit. I'm not saying the right things. I feel like I could be better. This could look better. So let me wait until tomorrow, or perhaps let me wait until I feel like it and post then. Right. And then what happens is you don't really post because you're waiting and waiting and waiting until you feel like it, uh, until you feel like you're in the mood or like it's going to be perfect. And guess what? You need to start doing it to get in the mood. So here, I never thought I would say that on this podcast, but whatever. So the key here is to understand that this creeps up in so many ways. It can also creep up even after you're posting. Like, let's say you posted something and you don't like how it came out, or maybe people aren't responding to it the same way that you anticipated. You thought it was like the best post ever, but the likes aren't coming in or the views aren't coming in as you want it to. So you get really, really tough on yourself. You're saying, oh, I did something wrong. I should have done something differently. And perhaps I have to go and like create a whole new post, like do a whole new thing. And I don't know when I'm going to come up with the idea for it. I don't know when I'm going to do it, but I'll do it. And then 2 weeks go by and you don't post. Ugh, I mean, I know I've been there, right? That's why I feel like I can talk to you about this because I've gone through this exact thing. And also, I have gone through an like paralysis when I'm about to post, or even not knowing what to post, because you might have an idea here or there, but you might not think that it's a good enough idea. And again, that is where perfectionism comes in. So now that we know where perfectionism comes in and how that works with socials, let's talk about how fear of judgment and criticism creeps up and gets in the way of posting on social. All right. So, fear of judgment and criticism. Ouch. It like hits you like a literal dagger. So, like, I don't know. When I say that, it hits me like with a dagger in the heart. And I'm like, ah, or maybe in my sacral, or like, So here's the thing. Again, we have to remember to thank us for these feelings, or thank ourselves for these feelings, because they did protect you at one point, but they're no longer serving you. First and foremost, I'm going to tell you that no one is paying as much attention to your posts on social as you are. No one is really like nitpicking them and saying like, oh, they should have used a different font color. No one is thinking that, right? And if people are not responding to your work, it has nothing to do with you or your work. Your work and like artwork is so subjective, right? So don't even think that you can, you know, I hate to say this, but like you can't please everyone, and that's okay. There are artists out there who are so, so popular. I'm going to say it, Damien Hirst, Jeff Koons. But there are so, so many people who don't respond to that work, who don't like it, who poo-poo on it, right? I mean, we can think about Linda Benglis, Julie Moretu. Like there's so many artists, right? Frida Kahlo, who's more historical. So think about those names that I just mentioned. You're not going to be falling in love with all of them. You might like one or the other, and that's okay. So, when it comes to that judgment and criticism, I don't want to reframe it completely just yet because I do want to tell you how it comes up when you are about to post on social. So how it comes up is I'm afraid that when I post this, someone is going to tell me that the work is bad, or I'm going to get people unfollowing me, right? Because I post this, or I'm going to have someone from my past come at me and be like, I did, so and so made something similar, so you're copying them, right? There are so many ways that this can come up, this fear of judgment and criticism. It can also come up, like I said, after you post, not only before you post, but after, where you're judging yourself for not getting the engagement that you thought you would get from the post, and then you just don't want to post more. So, when all of these things are coming up for you, trying to also, I wonder if I should tell you a few more of these judgment and criticism things. Oh, my this curator is going to see this work, and they sort of engaged with me. They sort of follow, like they're following me. I think I'm building a relationship with them, but if I post this, it's so different than the other work. I'm afraid that they're not going to like it. And then they're going to forget all about me, right? That's another way it comes up. It can come up with as, oh, well, I'm afraid that my gallerist will see it and say, like, how come you didn't give me this piece and you gave me that piece, right? Or something like that. It's how people view your work is essentially what you're concerned with before you post. So I'm here to reframe these feelings. So now that we've thanked the feelings, we've identified how they come up, let's talk about getting rid of them, saying goodbye to them forever so that they don't stop you from posting, right? So here's the thing. When you have these feelings, they are totally valid, but they're no longer serving you, because I will reframe this for you. When it comes to perfectionism, no one is scrutinizing your posts that much. Okay. You are your own toughest critic. And as a matter of fact, your 40%, let's say you're like the quality you feel like you're posting at is like 40% out of 100. Your 40% could be somebody else's 120%. So don't be so tough on yourself. And the other thing to really consider when it comes to perfectionism is, who is it serving, right? How is this actually helping you right now? Maybe you would reach more people. You would be able to show more people your work and help them feel better with your work because they see it, they love it, it brings them joy, whatever it is. It makes them think about something. It makes other artists more inspired. It is you serving your work, right? So, who are you to stop putting that work out there, right? So, when it comes to that perfectionism, really acknowledge it, say thank you to it, and no thank you to it because you do not need it. For example, if I was going to be a perfectionist about this podcast today, I would have waited like another 2 weeks to post it, because I'd be like, oh, the lighting is changing. The sun's coming in. I don't know if I'm wearing the right thing. Do I really know what to say? Like, I would really be judging myself, and you wouldn't be hearing this. And the same goes for you and the work that you put out there. It's going to serve your community and it's going to serve you. So don't hold it back. Besides, perfectionism is just a trauma response, right? Remember in the very beginning of this podcast where I was talking about how it came to us, how we started to be perfectionists? It's because we wanted to please, we wanted to be the fawn, right? So there is a threat, and you can either fight, you can run, like fight or flight, you can freeze, or you can fawn. You could be like, oh, don't eat me. You're so cute. Blah, 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 blah. Right? To a lion that's attacking you, right? That's the thought. But that lion could be like your professor, an art critic that you have crossed paths with before. It could be anyone that made you feel threatened, and you were like, you know what? I'm going to do my best to make them feel better, right? And so that is where this fawn response comes from. And that's where perfectionism comes from. And you don't need to do that. You aren't threatened. You are in charge, right? Now, when it comes to reframing fear of criticism or judgment, right? Again, no one is scrutinizing you the way that you are. And art is so subjective that we literally cannot please everyone. Not everyone likes Van Gogh or the Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci. Actually, that's totally not my favorite Da Vinci painting. My favorite Da Vinci painting is St. John the Baptist because that looks so cool. He's like, it's just so good. You like my painting impression? Anyway, so here's the thing. Don't be so tough on yourself when it comes to that criticism and judgment. You're always going to have people who love the thing and people who don't love the thing, and the thing being your work. And here's the thing. You don't want to please everybody. If you please everybody, your work is for nobody. But if you please some people, that work is so speaking to them. It is so specific to them. And so they will respond to it, they will remember it. And ultimately, you are putting your work out there not to please people, but because you have such a profound intention behind your work that is so personal to you that they cannot criticize or judge that away because it is the most authentic thing about you. So go ahead and put your work out there. Now, if you are curious about putting your work out there even more, I have a 3-day free training coming up really, really soon. It starts on July 10th and it's going to be July 10th, 11th, and 12th. And during this free training, I will teach you how you can get into galleries that don't accept submissions. So every day we will meet live at 1 p.m. Eastern or New York time, and I will tell you different things. So on day one, we're going to go over what the gallerists and the curators are actually looking for when they're looking at artists and considering whether or not they will take them on or really work with them, right? Then, second day, we're going to look at how you can show these curators and gallerists without knocking on their door, right? Without sending an unsolicited submission, how you can show them that they are really looking for you and show them those things, right? And in the final day of this free training on day 3, we are going to look at the mindset around working with galleries and getting your work out there and help you get out of your own way. This is a huge thing that I've been adding on to the kind of work that I do with artists for I'm like, how long? I can't count right now. No, since 2018. So it's been almost 6 years. It'll be 6 years on August 3rd. I've had the artist advisory. And for 6 years, I've been guiding hundreds of visual artists on how to grow their career sustainably in the right direction based on my knowledge from working in the New York City art world for nearly 15 years. So take it from me, somebody who is from the other side of things. I will tell you what people on the other side are looking for and how to show it to them. And on top of that, I will show you how you can get out of your own way to do that. So please join me in the free 3-day live training. You can sign up with the link in the show notes, and don't be concerned if you cannot make it at 1 p.m. each day, New York time, because each day I will upload a replay to a private page that you get access to so you can listen or watch the replay at your own leisure. Now, there's one more thing I want to tell you about this training, and that is that I'm going to be giving out amazing prizes. So if you join me, you will be entered for a chance to win some things, but you've got to do some extra stuff. And that is going to be in the email that you get once you register. But basically, I will ask you to post each day of the challenge. I will give you like a thing to post on Instagram and a hashtag to follow so that it's not cringe and you're like, I'm doing this challenge, but then it makes sense for your profile, everyone's profile, if they're an artist. And based on those posts, I'm going to pick a winner to receive one of 3 prizes. So the first prize is a ticket to my online group program that I've been teaching now for 5 years, called the Artist Academy, and that is launching on July 15th. I'm so thrilled for it. In this group program, you get to learn how to put yourself out there, how to identify everything from your intention about your work to how to communicate it online, on your website and in your socials, and also how to build a roadmap for yourself at where you are in your art career so that it makes sense for you. At the very end of the program, so you'll also, every 2 weeks, you'll get a module drop, you'll watch the video, you might do the workbook. At the end of the program, you get to meet gallerists. So you'll have 2 meetings with a gallerist and or a curator. And you get to ask them any questions you want, and also they will get to know you. So, this is such a special program. From this program, graduates have gone on to have like solo museum shows, solo gallery shows with the gallerists that they've met. And it's just so amazing. It really warms my heart. So, yeah, one of the prizes is a ticket to the Artist Academy. And the second prize is a personalized Instagram audit from me. So I will look through your account and send you a video that is personalized exactly to you on what I think is working and not working on your Instagram, or could be working better, because everything is working. Remember, we're not perfectionists here. We are just doing things one step at a time, right? And the third prize are 3 of my favorite books that I suggest to the artists that I work with. They are on the suggested reading list for the Artist Academy. So I hope to see you at the 3-day live training. You can go ahead and tap the link in the show notes or down below and get your seat, right? It would be so great to see you. And thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much for listening. Support your community by sharing this podcast, leaving a review, and follow The Artist Advisory on Instagram at @the_artist_advisory, and visit us online at www.theartistadvisory.com.